And let me make sure you guys let me know in the chat if you can see my screen, okay? Can you guys see my screen? All right, are you guys able to see my screen? Perfect, 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 perfect. All right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, so everything that we're going to be talking about this evening is going to be how to secure 5-figure corporate sponsorships in 90 days or less. Now, of course, this does not have to mean that it's only 5 figures or the strategy is something that only works for 5 figures. If you're someone that's looking to get 6-figure partnerships, this is definitely a process and a strategy that can work for you as well, okay? If you're looking to go to the 6-figure mark. Now, before we get started, please make sure to put away all of your distractions. We're going to be together for about 60 minutes. It could be more, just depending on if you guys have questions or anything like that. All right. So stay until the end so that way I can get your questions answered, as well as give you guys a chance to work with me and learn how you can work with me one-on-one. Now, I want you guys to take a moment to just think about this. What would it mean to you if you could make an extra $50,000 a year to use to impact your vision and to create the events and programs of your dreams? And I want you guys to share that with me in the chat group. Let me know what that would mean to you, okay? Write your answer down in the chat. Think about it if you had an extra $50,000 a year, because obviously I'm assuming that you joined this evening because you really want to learn how to make additional sponsorship revenue. And if that's you, or maybe you are the influencer that's trying to figure out how can I partner with brands and make the most of my gifts and talents to partner with these brands and get paid for it. So I want you to tell me in the chat, what would you do with that $50,000 and how would it really impact your vision to create the events and programs of your dreams? Tell me in the chat. Now, right now, as you're thinking about that and you're placing that inside of the chat, I want you to also take a moment to think about the opportunities that are out there for you. There are over 3.69 million businesses that have 5+ employees. Then you've got 1.5 million nonprofits, over 500,000 conferences and trade shows, 4,000 colleges and universities. So in total, you've got over 5.7 million organizations just in the United States alone that you could potentially partner with. So 5.7 million organizations that you could potentially partner with. So if you're someone that's looking to host events, you've got over 5.7 million organizations that you could partner with. If you are someone that is a nonprofit founder, you have organizations that you can partner with. If you are a speaker that's looking to speak at different conferences or trade shows, you've got 500,000 different options that you could choose from. And just if you're wanting to maybe sell your services or be an expert with some of these brands, be the expert for some of these brands, you now have opportunity, 5.7 million different opportunities in which you could partner with these brands. Now let's take it even further. Think about you yourself, okay? You yourself partnering with at least 10 brands at $5,000. If you partnered with 10 brands at $5,000, that's now going to place you at $50,000 for the year, okay? That's not bad. It's not bad, and it's actually something that's very achievable, and it is doable. And for those of you who just joined in, thank you so much for tuning in. We've already gotten started, but I want you to think about, what would $50,000 do for you, your brand, your vision, and how you truly desire to make impact? Now I'm going to take a moment just to look at some of those responses. And someone, you said Davida, you said, I would feel confident in executing my vision for my nonprofit to spread awareness for my nonprofit organization. I would also be able to finally hire others. Good. Nikki, you said, I would be able to invest the money into recruiting additional staff members for my advertising and yearly conferences. Good. And Gabrielle, you said, is it unrealistic to think about $1,000 a month for 20 sponsors? Absolutely not unrealistic. It is realistic. It most certainly is realistic. All right, let's continue. Let's keep going. Now let's take it even further. Let's say you've got 20 partnerships at $5,000 for the year, 20 brand partners, $5,000, that's $100,000. Let's say you have 20 partnerships at $10,000, that is $200,000, or 20 partnerships at $20,000, that's $400,000, or 20 partnerships at $50,000, that's over $1 million. And the reason why I'm painting this picture for you is because I want you to understand that this is a reality for some people. And it means that if it's a reality for people out there, this can certainly be a reality for you. Imagine and consider closing a 5- and 6-figure deal with one brand. This is exactly what has happened with one of my clients, Maya Elias. Absolutely love her. And I'm sure there may be some of you out there that are familiar with her and familiar with her brand. When Maya and I first connected, she reached out to me and she informed me that, hey, in 2020, I'd only done $1,000 in sponsorship. Okay. So $1,000 in sponsorship, that's all she had done. By the time we got her to her 2021 Built to Impact event or Impact Weekend, we got her $20,000 in paid sponsorships and over $26,000 in in-kind sponsorships. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, $20,000 doesn't really seem like a lot of money. When you think about hosting an in-person event during a global pandemic where a lot of brands just weren't really too keen on being a part of in-person events, that was actually a really good number. And we were able to help her jump up and increase to $45,000 from the previous year. Now, here we are preparing for the 2022 Impact Weekend, and we've already landed for an event that's in 2022, $75,000 from 2 brands, okay, combined. So with 2 brands, $75,000, and we still have more to come because we're like 8 months, 9 months out before this event that's happening in 2022. So I want you to, again, know that it's possible. Let's talk about someone else who was able to secure $7,500 in 3 weeks. And Melissa is actually someone who is a part of my Sponsored and Secured course. And when students are a part of my course, I really take it to heart what they do. And so she had this amazing event called LA Homecoming 2020. And I saw that Cricket Wireless, there was a lot of good alignment. And I was like, hey, I feel like if they sponsored this other event over here, it's very similar to what you were doing. And I think it would be a perfect opportunity. And there you see it on January 12th. I reached out to her January 12th of 2020. She responded back on the 14th. And I was basically just telling her on Instagram, hey, this would be a perfect opportunity for you. You need to reach out to them. And then by March, she had gotten a yes from this brand. It did not take a long time. So here I am saying, imagine $1,000 or $5,000 with a brand. And here we're seeing this happen for people where we're getting $7,500 in 3 weeks or $50,000 within 2 months, or a brand agreeing to a $50,000 contract within 1 month. So yes, again, Gabrielle, it's very much possible. So you guys are probably wondering, is it really possible for me to secure corporate sponsors? My response to you would be absolutely yes. Some of you might be wondering, well, how quickly can I start collecting these checks? I like to say, give yourself time to actually reach out and build relationships with these brands. But 90 days is a really good place to start if you've got everything that you need and you follow the process that I'm going to teach you this evening. What does it take to get started? You're probably wondering that. We're going to cover those things. And if you're somebody that's here and maybe you've tried to reach out to brands and you're like, man, I've been trying to reach out to brands and I'm just really not getting anywhere, you might be wondering, what in the world am I doing wrong? And is this a waste of time? Now, I see your questions that are coming in the Q&A box. I'm going to make sure to answer those questions by the time we get to the end of the training, okay? But feel free, if you want to write your questions down or type them inside of the Q&A box, please feel free to go ahead. So here's some of the secrets that are going to be revealed this evening in this training. First, I'm going to teach you and show you how to gain the attention of major brands and land high dollar partnerships. I'm also going to teach you how to use a 2-page proposal to communicate your value advantage to potential sponsors. I'm also going to show you how to use LinkedIn and other social platforms to organically connect with corporate clients. And I'm also going to show you how to create repeat sponsorship revenue using a 5-phase sponsorship sales framework, okay? Now, why is this important for you? This is really important for you because obviously you popped into this training because you might be stuck on what should be included in your sponsorship proposal, or you just might be stuck on what in the heck do I even do to get this thing started all around, all across the board. Or maybe you're the person that's reaching out to brands, you've got the sponsorship proposal, maybe you've been sponsored, but you're not getting a response and you're trying to figure out like, what are my next steps? How can I improve this? So you don't really have guidance on how to improve. You really need help. Or maybe you have these big goals to get the $50,000 contracts or the $75,000 contracts, or for other people, for you, it may just be $1,000, but you really have this big goal of maybe making more impact. You want to host 100% sponsored events. You want to be able to use your influence and your reach and in your expertise to partner with brands, and you really need help to get that funding. In order for you to be able to make the impact and have greater reach, you simply need that funding. I want to let you know that you are worth it. Your ideas, your vision, everything, it all matters. You're an expert at what you do. You probably have case studies to back it up, to back up all the impact that you've made over the years. And maybe you don't have that to the case studies to back up what you've done over the years. You know that your vision is going to make great impact. You're just really not sure how to get started. Now think about this. There's a lot of things that I want you to think about, because by the time you finish watching this training, I really want you to know and believe in your heart without a doubt that it is truly possible. Now I want you to imagine if you can make $1,000 in 90 days or less. 90 days or less. And let's just use $1,000. I don't even want you to think beyond the $1,000. If you have bigger goals, cool, but let's just start with $1,000 in 90 days or less, partnering with the brand that you love. Now take it a little bit further. I want you to imagine if you were consistently partnering with the brands that you love and transforming those relationships and partnerships into long-term repeat contracts. And you ended up getting so many repeat contracts and so many different brand partnerships and sponsorships that eventually this equated into a full-time salary. Now let's take it even further. Everything that you do, everything that you organized, 100% sponsored, and you never ever have to spend any dollars out of your own pocket to fund the events of your dreams or to partner or do the things that you really want to do, because you have brands just handing you checks for your wonderful area of expertise, okay? I want you to imagine that. It is definitely possible, all right? And I know that this is possible because this is exactly how it happened with me. In 2014, I hosted the very first Woman of Purpose conference. It's a nonprofit, faith-based organization, and I was able to get funding. I've hosted over 4 sold-out sponsored conferences. Now, of course, when I first started, I used money out of my own bank account. In fact, hit -0 in order to make it happen. But I believed so much in my vision, and then other people believed in me, and other people helped support me in getting the funding that I needed. I went through a lot of Googling. I went through a lot of research. I went through a lot of connecting with different people to help me get these events sponsored, but it eventually happened. And I was able to land over 6 figures in sponsorships to fund these amazing events. And let me tell you, I've worked with celebrities. As you can see, there's Yvonne Orji right there. And we had to pay her money. And how was I able to afford that? And how was an organization able to do something like that, a nonprofit? It's because we secured sponsors, which is the same thing that I'm going to help you do. I've been sponsored by companies like Curls. And as you can see in this sponsorship right here, this was just for gift bag advertising. They paid $3,000 just to give their products and advertise it at my conference. I've also worked with other nonprofit organizations because some people have this doubt or this misconception that nonprofits, they don't give sponsorships, but they do. We've secured sponsorships with Faith Life, Compassion International, and worked with other brands like Walmart, Reebok, H&R Block, Brinker International, and so many. That's just a few. And I've had a lot of great features. But here's how everything really got started for me. Some of you may not know my history or my background. I think it's important to understand, like, this has all been a journey. I didn't just wake up one day and say, oh, I want to teach people sponsorships. I didn't just start doing this and get lucky and just get connected to the right people. In fact, I had 0 connections when I got started. I thought that I was going to be an entertainment attorney. This is a picture of me over here. You'll see in a law school program. I attended law school for a summer. It was a program to help students figure out if law school was really for them or not. And thankfully, I did something like that because I quickly discovered that law school isn't for me. I had a really good friend who reached out to me and said, hey, Jess, I would love for you to help me plan my Nigerian Independence Day party. And as you see the picture over here that says 10/3/2009, that was in 2009 when it happened. I have no idea why he really believed in me to do it, but I took on the challenge to help plan this Nigerian Independence Day party. It was so well received that 2 gentlemen who attended that event, they were like, oh man, we need you to help us come and plan our events. So I did. I started doing tours for African artists, worked on awesome events like NBA All-Star Weekend, Super Bowl weekend. And let me tell you, like, that's me over there, NBA All-Star Weekend. I was hosting an event. This is me with at the time, one of the biggest African groups in Nigeria, African groups in Africa. They're a Nigerian group, but they had a USA tour and I helped plan that. And then on the other picture, you see me, that's where I hosted a charity fashion show and raised over $75,000 for Children's Miracle Network. All wonderful things, using my gifts and talents in great ways. But here's the thing, none of it was profitable. I was doing great things. I looked real good when people saw me on the internet, but I wasn't making real money. And honestly, I really and truly wasn't making the greatest impact and using my gifts in the greatest way possible. In 2010, I received a very clear vision. And that vision was, look, Jessica, you've got great gifts and you have so many other places that you could go and so many other things that you could do with your gifts. And I'm sure that may be some of you. And I started to feel like everything that I was doing wasn't really giving people's lives a meaning. And so I started, after I got this vision, that I needed to do more because that wasn't it for me. The club events, the charity events, really just looking good on cover, looking good on the internet, that wasn't enough. So I started hosting these Christian open mic nights, and they were so powerful. But again, I wasn't making money. I was just giving people's life a meaning. So I had to find a way to make money. I eventually got into wedding planning and I absolutely hated it. That's me and my friends who were working with me. But let me tell you, I was broke because, again, I didn't really fully understand how to run a business. So I had to go back into corporate America. I worked as an event manager for major hotel properties like the Gaylord Texan, the Sheraton Hotel in downtown Dallas. And through all of this experience, the corporate experience, plus everything that I'd been doing as a club promoter, don't get me wrong, even though I wasn't making money, the skill set was great, but it really helped me to discover the right way to host events. It gave me the confidence that I needed to start hosting my own events. Now, when you're working in hotels, you learn to work with the meeting planners, the sponsors. You're learning how to manage multi-million dollar budgets for events. So you get connected with a lot of people. So the experience in working in corporate America was everything I needed and more. Gave me the confidence to now start hosting Woman of Purpose conferences. My first conference, I had over 500 plus attendees, and I used $10,000 to make it happen using student loan money. I took out a loan that year, my last year of college, to make this conference happen. And let me tell you, had my bank account in negative zero, as I mentioned before, but I was willing to make it happen because I truly believed in this vision, and the vision that really opened up so many doors. Now, I want you to think about this for a moment, okay? Because I didn't have sponsors for my very first conference. And there are some people, some of you who may be listening into this training or watching this training, and you may be in a place where there's so many wonderful things that you want to do, but you're like, I can't do this because I don't have the funds to do it. So, is there something that you have really wanted to do in your life, but you stopped yourself from doing it because you didn't have the funds to do it? I want you to tell me in the chat box if that sounds like you. If that is you, tell me in the chat box. If there's something that you really wanted to do, if there's an event that you've wanted to host, if there's this really big idea that you may have, if maybe there's a brand that you want to partner with, or you have an opportunity, but you just can't do it because you don't have the funds, let me know in the chat box. Here's the thing, I didn't allow that to stop me from hosting this conference and continuing with it. I feel like I was really blessed to get divinely connected with someone who attended my very first conference. When she attended that first conference, she shared all of her secrets with me because she was like, girl, who are your sponsors? She thought that I had a sponsored event. And I was like, no, I did this with student loan money. It was me, God, student loan money, and like making my bank account go into the negative. And she said, you know what? I'm going to help you because I think that you have something really good. And that was like another big moment in my life, a pivotal moment in my life and for my brand and for everything that I did with Woman of Purpose. She shared all of her secrets on how to get these events sponsored. So I used the knowledge that I learned as the wedding planner, the club promoter, the corporate meeting planner, working as a meeting manager, plus everything that she shared with me. And all of that experience helped me to secure over 6 figures in sponsorships, in corporate sponsorships, to host the next set of Woman of Purpose conferences. Now, every single thing that I do is 100% sponsored. Now, people always ask, Jessica, why aren't you hosting your conferences anymore? What's going on? Well, I took a pause from hosting my conferences because something major in life happened. I had a baby. My husband and I, we became a family of 3. And so I chose to take a step back from hosting my conferences to really focus on influencer work. So there was a lot of pitching myself to brands and great things happened. But a lot of people kept reaching out to me about, when are you going to host your conference? When are you going to do this? Or they wanted to have lunch meetings and were wondering like, girl, can I know what you do? How did you do this? How are you getting this money? How are you collecting these checks? So I decided to develop a beginner's guide to help others win at securing corporate sponsorships. And I remember when I hosted this, people absolutely loved it. I did an Instagram live. People bought this guide. And I mean, I really did not think that this many people would buy or purchase a guide on sponsorships. I didn't really see it as a need, but it was this huge thing that I just felt like divinely happened, where it's like this hosting this conference opened up doors for me to teach people and train people how to do exactly what I did. Because at this time, the knowledge or the information just wasn't out there and people weren't willing to share it. It was so well received that I took on a few major clients and was able to secure a six-figure contract for one of them. This is Jonathan Traylor. He's a Motown gospel recording artist. Now, here's the thing. Some people might say, oh, well, he's like a celebrity or he's a Motown gospel recording artist. If you've ever attended the Woman of Purpose conference, any of you who are familiar with it, or if you go back on my YouTube channel and you watch the conferences, you will see that Jonathan was always the person who was the worship artist or who led the worship for the conference. So I knew Jonathan and was working with him as a booking manager years, like 10 years before he even became a signed artist. So the sponsorships that I was able to help him secure, all of those things happened before he became a major Motown gospel recording artist. So before you start thinking, oh my God, you did it for him because he's a celebrity. No, we did all of these things and I helped get him funding before he became a signed artist. Eventually, people started to see everything that I was posting on Instagram and all these things, and they started inviting me to speak at conferences. And so at one of the conferences that I just spoke at, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make an offer and see how people will respond. I'm going to tell them about a course that I'm going to create and see if this is something that they would love. Obviously, I told people about a sponsorships guide or an ebook. People loved it. Let's see how people would respond to a course. And I was so overwhelmed at the number of people who said, yes, I want to be a part of your course. I want to get this training. I offered people to do a free 45-minute call with me. I'd never do that again because over 129 people booked calls with me. And then I got over 30 new clients or 30 plus people who signed up for my course just from speaking at one conference about sponsorships. Now, here I am. You see on my Instagram page, these are brands that I pitch, brands that I love. Gotten the opportunity to work with Pottery Barn, The Container Store, Stella Rosa, and so many other brands. Again, brands that I pitch and brands that I love. And I've been able to honestly create a full-time, basically a full-time job out of this. And I absolutely love what I do. And so I want to help others do the same, whether that be through influencer work, you as a speaker setting yourself up as the expert to partner with brands, or you working on events and getting brands to sponsor your events. So the purpose of this training is to share why corporate sponsorship is a great revenue stream for your brand. Of course, reveal secrets to help you get started, and also share how you can work alongside me and learn to secure sponsors. That's really going to change your life, because learning how to secure corporate sponsorships, it has completely changed my life. Before I started pitching myself as an influencer, I started with the foundation and the fundamental pieces of corporate sponsorships, getting my event sponsored. Long before influencers, being an influencer was a thing, or brand partnerships and corporate contracts was a thing, I started with corporate sponsorship. So this is the foundation of everything that I do and everything that I teach. Now, this workshop is for you if you're a sponsorship seeker or influencer with some time or no prospects. You want consistent sponsorship opportunities so you can increase revenue in your business or nonprofit and support your dreams. You want access to major brands and to get connected with decision makers. And you want to secure sponsors, but you fear you'll hear no because you've really never done this before. Again, and I'm going to continue to keep saying this, it's very much possible for you. Now, this is the foundation of everything that you are going to learn this evening. Some of you may have seen this before because I talk about this all the time. It is the sponsorship sales framework, which is the 5-phase sales process that I use for everything when it comes to pitching to brands, okay? Now, if you're looking to secure corporate sponsorships, I usually say it's a 12 to 18 month process. You can do it in less time, but I really like to build relationships with these brands. And so I give myself time, and I want you to give yourself time. If you're looking to secure brand campaigns, 30 to 90 days to secure those brand campaigns as an influencer. So we've got phase 1, where we're doing a lot of research, developing benefits, establishing value. Phase 2, prospecting your potential sponsors. Phase 3, that's like you're scheduling your meetings, you're building your relationships, asking the right questions, and creating your intro pitch. Then you go into phase 4, which is your custom proposal phase. And then phase 5, where you're activating the campaign, you got the contract, and then you're going to go after a renewal contract. Now, here's the number one misconception, or one misconception, I should say, that people always say. And everybody thinks this. I think in every training that I've done, anytime I host a Q&A, people always ask this question: do I need to have thousands of followers? Or what if I don't have a large enough audience? Are people going to really want to sponsor me? So people say you need to have thousands of followers to get sponsored. Let me tell you, you do not need thousands of followers. And I want you to tell me, have you ever felt like you couldn't pitch yourself because you don't have a large following? I want you to tell me in the chat group if that is you. If that is you. And I want to read what's going on in the chat, because I want to see what y'all over here talking about. Yes. Okay, Gabrielle, you said that's Stacey Ike. Yes, I love Stacey Ike. Ashley, you said that's been your story for sure. Dion, you said I've wanted to take my nonprofit on a tour doing Christian concerts for free, but with mainstream artists. Girl, it's possible. It's possible. It's possible. All right. All right. So if you have felt like that, oh, wait 1 second. Let me go. All right. So if you've ever felt that way, I just want to, tell you now, let that go. That is a myth that brands won't sponsor you unless you have a following. So wait until you have a large audience. Don't make that mistake of waiting until you have a large audience. Here's the truth. Don't focus on following. Focus on solving problems. An audience size is great, but your impact and the transformation that you bring to your audience, or the transformation overall that's going to happen, that is what holds more value. So focus on solving problems and the impact that you make, because that is what's most valuable to these brands. Now, I want to refer to Jonathan because I mentioned earlier today, or earlier in the training, that when I worked with Jonathan, he was still just getting started. I worked with him. I've seen his journey and his growth, worked with him years before he ever got signed. So this is an actual sponsorship proposal that we sent out to a brand, Compassion. And on the cover page of the proposal, as soon as that brand opened it up, there were two things that we did. It says 32,000 people, 900 sponsorships. Now, you probably wondering, 32,000 people, 900 sponsorships, what does that even mean? Well, it's important to do your research and figure out, what does that brand, or the brand that you want to partner with, what does a successful partnership look like to them? So we had to do some digging and figure out, what is their partnership process like? What do they look for as far as an ROI? And because they're a company or a nonprofit that sponsors children, what they're looking for is for artists or influencers to use their platform to get other people to sponsor a child. So that is what this brand is all about. And our whole thing was, we believe that if you partner with Jonathan, we're going to be able to reach 32,000 people and get 900 sponsorships. Now, you're probably wondering how he gonna reach 32,000 people, but he only got 20.4 thousand followers on Instagram, and he only has a 25.5K reach. Now, I'm giving you this example for a very clear reason, because if you look at many of the artists that this type of organization works with, this is a very small audience and a very small following compared to the big artists that this brand normally works with. But we were able to clearly communicate, even though we never done this before, and we got this brand to say yes. But because we had done our research, we understood how their partnership process works and how they partner with influencers and artists, and the impact that they would like to see made. We were clearly able to articulate that in the sponsorship proposal. So even as an artist who was just getting started and at the time wasn't signed, when this brand said yes to us, we communicated the impact that was going to be made. Mind you, again, we had never done this before, but we clearly communicated. So if you can clearly communicate based on the research and how this brand partners or engages in partnerships with people. If you can clearly communicate or articulate that in your partnership proposal, you are always, most times, in most cases, you'll see a win. Stacy Ike, one of you just said, "Oh my God, I know her." So Stacy Ike, she secured $5,000 with Asana using the process that I shared with her. And I remember when she came to my house, we were sitting in my closet going over everything on what she should do and how she should do it. Now, there are some people out there who think that in order for them to get sponsorships or secure sponsors with brands, they need to have thousands of people. Trust me, I was there. I had that kind of that same misconception too. This was for a digital experience. There you see it on Zoom, and she only had 50 attendees, but she provided value that aligned with the brand Asana's values. So, because she was able to communicate that in her proposal, and she connected with the brand that saw value in what she was doing because it was a part of their company values, it was very easy for her to secure that $5,000. And it's just always so mind blowing to me when I see people who have partnership proposals and they have, thousands of followers, and they have in their like gold, silver, bronze packages, and it's like, oh, $1,000 for this level. But here's someone here who only had 50 attendees at her event and secured 5,000. Again, for some people, somebody in here, you may feel like, well, that's not really a lot of money. But for someone who has a small following or who had the mindset of, if I have a small, intimate event, nobody's going to want to sponsor me because I have a small, intimate event, that can no longer be your excuse. Okay. So, a lot of the things that you see, like when I talk about these partnership proposals, how are they doing it? What are they placing inside of their proposals? It's thinking about what is your value advantage. That advantage is basically your benefits, basically your activations. How are you truly going to make this a successful campaign, not just for you, but for the brand? What is that advantage? What are you offering them? Things that you can offer them are conferences, retreats, webinars, training workshops, digital campaigns, coaching. And the reason why I'm saying coaching or research, social impact, community engagement, let's say you are a person here who's like, well, I don't really host events, or maybe I host workshops, and I'm looking to partner with a brand where their employees could benefit from my training or my workshop. And so you basically sell that training to them and they're offering that to their employees. That's a partnership. Or maybe one of their employees, someone from the brand, comes and speak at your workshop or in your webinar. And because of the exposure that they're getting to come and speak in front of your audience, that is now, again, a partnership, and you can be paid for that opportunity. There are lots of ways in which you can add value to a brand. So you have to take time to think about your advantage. So I want you to tell me in the chat. Tell me in the chat, what is your value advantage? How do you make impact? What is the transformation that you bring? And what is your advantage through your offerings? Put that in the chat, because when I get to the questions, I want to talk about those. Tell me in the chat, because a lot of times I don't want you to be generic. I don't want you to be general. I want you to really think about the value that you bring to the table. Because a lot of times in people's sponsorship proposals, they're putting things like, oh, you can get VIP tickets. We're going to put you on a step and repeat. And those things honestly should be givens. That's not really truly your value advantage. Really talk about how you can truly, if you wanted to partner with Asana, how would you truly make that brand successful or highlight that brand successfully in front of your audience or in front of people, for people to just be like, wow, this was truly a successful partnership, or for the brand to say that. So let's talk about secret number one. The reason why every single example that I've showed you, Maya, Stacy, Jonathan, Melissa, all of their successful partnerships, part of the reason why it was successful, because before they even reached out to those brands, research was done. They found good contacts. They studied previous activations or campaigns that that brand has done with other people. And they found that, you know what, there is alignment. So yes, there's some success here. So if you see that a brand that you would love to work with has done something very similar to what you're hoping to achieve, that means that there's some alignment. you guys may probably have same values, you have a target audience in which they're trying to reach, and it's clearly visible, whether you find that on LinkedIn, you find that on Instagram, however you find that information, you are able to clearly identify that there is alignment. Okay. Now, if you see that there's a brand that you have on your wish list and you would love to work with them, but there's no alignment, don't waste your time and energy. Not all brands are worth your time. So focus on the brands that you can prove the most value to and your advantage. Okay. So questions that you should be asking yourself is there alignment? Are they already spending money on this type of campaign? Can you provide ROI to the brand? And let me tell you, figuring out if you can truly provide ROI to that brand is simply a matter of, let me research that brand and see how do they engage in partnerships? Because if you understand how they engage in partnerships with people or with individuals like yourself, then you're going to be able to clearly communicate that and show that in your partnership proposal. Also, if you have any case studies, do you have visible results concerning this to prove your worth? So if there's something that you've done in the past, have you included this inside of your proposal? And that should be there. It should be readily available for them to see. Now let's talk about misconception number 2. If you pitch big brands and no one responds, then it's a waste of time to pitch other companies. Ooh, man, I hear this one all the time. So I want to know, and tell me in the chat group, have you ever pitched one company and didn't reach out to others because you didn't get a response? Let me take that even further. You didn't follow up because you didn't get a response. Tell me in the chat. And I know I hear this every day. I get people that reach out to me all the time and they're just like, oh, Jessica, I pitched a brand. I never heard back from them. So I don't know. Like, I never followed up. See it time and time again. Here's a myth. Big brands like Coca-Cola and Target are the brands with large sponsorship budgets. So those are the best brands to pitch. I cannot tell you the number of times I have spoken with individuals and they tell me that I ask them, what brands do you want to partner with? Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Target, Walmart, those are always the first brands. That's always the first set of brands that they think about or they tell me. And I usually try and encourage people to think about what you use on a daily basis. How do you operate in your business? When you think about your event overall and the sponsors that you should get, your target audience or the audience that you serve, what do they like? What are the things that they're spending their money on? What's the music that they listen to? What platforms are they using? Those are the type of sponsors that you should be going after, not just Coca-Cola, Target, and Walmart, just because you see them on TV, their commercials all the time. It's the first brand that you can think of. Maybe that's what you drink. But I want you to think deeper, dig a little bit deeper. The truth is, you really need a healthy prospect list of businesses. So whether that company is small, mid-size, or large, Fortune 500, Fortune 100, Fortune 1000, reach out to all size companies. Because as I mentioned, when I showed you that list of the number of organizations that are just in the United States alone, we were looking at companies that have 5+ people. And trust me, there are brands out there that have maybe 5 to 10 employees that have sponsorship budgets. When I first partnered with Curls wasn't a company that had over 30 employees. Okay. So I want you to think about that, but they had sponsorship budgets and I know someone that got $25,000 from that brand to host her events. And at that time, they did not have up to 25 or 30 employees. So don't limit yourself to just these big mega size brands. Let me give you an example. I love giving real life examples. This is someone who is inside of the Sponsored and Secured course, Dr. Sajay Price. First off, she only has 2,000 followers. Dr. Sajay, she approached me and she was like, hey, I have a really good idea. I really would love to approach this brand. But I'm thinking, I don't know if they'll have budget, but I'm seeing that they're really in support of Black female entrepreneurs. And so she told me her idea and I was like, I think this is perfect. She was thinking to pitch a brand like Intuit, which is a significantly larger brand than Bench. And I said, hey, you can pitch both, but don't throw all your eggs in one basket. Don't just go reach out to Intuit because you don't really see they're a much larger brand, and you know for sure that they're going to have budget because you probably have thousands of people who are reaching out to them. Well, maybe not thousands, but hundreds. So she took an opportunity because she saw that this company Bench was already doing something that she truly believes in. She's a Black woman. She uses and utilizes their service. She became an affiliate of their services or of their program. And she really was like, I think that I can make this work. Now, let me tell you, when she reached out to this brand, they actually had never partnered with a creator the way they partnered with her. First, they normally just do their affiliate partnerships where you promote their service and they give you a kickback if you get people to sign up. But she was able to use the templates that I provided to her, and with my guidance, we were able to communicate to them the impact that would be made and everything that we were going to do. And you can go and look at her page and see. And she was able to land a $5,000 contract. And I know when she worked on it, she was able to pull that off, I think, in about 3 or 4 weeks. And it was like, well, it was right at about 5,500. I think they had to increase it a little bit more. But this is what she had shared in the Facebook group when they had first got on the call and they agreed to it. But they actually asked for additional deliverables. Mind you, again, she only has 2,000 followers working with a mid-sized brand. Okay. And I would even consider Bench, it's small to mid-size. Okay. Because they don't have a ton of employees, but let's say mid-size, small to mid-size brand. And she was able to lock in this partnership. So again, I want you to understand that following isn't everything. And I also want you to understand that don't just think about the big dogs out there, the ones that we all assume have the big budgets. Go after those brands that everyone is not reaching out to. Now let's go into secret number 2. Secret number 2, and if you guys have questions, because I know you got stuff going on in the chat, but if you have questions, remember, please just post them in the chat box, and I'm going to be sure to answer them at the end. Now, secret number 2, this is where we get into phase 2, developing your prospect list, okay? So as I'm talking about these big brands, your prospect list, your healthy prospect list of small, mid-size, and large businesses, this is going to help you because of the research that you've done to not shoot your shot to everyone. Now, when you think about your wish list, I want you to split it up into a couple of sections. I want you to have your top tier, second tier, and your loyalty brands, okay? So when you think about top tier, these are the premium brands like the Targets, the Walmarts, the Coca-Colas. I want you to have all of those there. These are brands that definitely for sure are going to have major budgets, but the only problem with some of these big top tier brands is you've got hundreds, sometimes thousands of people that are reaching out to them. So you also want to ensure that you have their competitors or smaller brands that also have budgets that a lot of people aren't thinking about or reaching out to. When I sent something over to Melissa, nobody would ever think of Cricket Wireless. Why? Because when people think of partnering with a mobile provider, they always think of T-Mobile or Verizon first, Verizon or AT&T. But somebody like Cricket Wireless or a brand like Cricket Wireless, who would have thought that they would have funding available or to partner with them? There's opportunity. So don't leave out those smaller brands. And of course, think about your loyalty brands, the brands that you absolutely love. You always want to include on your healthy prospect list a list of brands that even if they don't have budget to pay you, maybe when you work with them the first time around, it could be for in-kind products. So they'll give you products to give to your audience, or maybe they will give you products to promote to your audience, however you want to do that. But it gives you, when you take in-kind sponsorships, what that now does for you is it gives you an opportunity to prove a case study or to create a case study. All right. So that healthy prospect list, develop your wish list and make sure it's healthy and you got some options there of brands that truly align with everything that you do. Now, this is one of my favorites, misconception number 3. You shouldn't send cold emails. Now, there's a lot of debates about this. There's a lot of back and forth on if cold emails actually work. I want to tell you now, every single case study that I've shared with you, every student that has been a part of my course, Maya, the $75,000 that we've secured, let me tell you, these were all cold leads. These were cold emails. We sent every single one of those people cold emails and they were able to land partnerships. All right. So have you ever shot a cold email and felt rejected after not getting a response? So you didn't follow up. Okay. Or maybe you just didn't have the contact. So you were just like, I'm not going to send it at all. Or maybe I just shot a LinkedIn message, didn't even try or attempt. And I'm sure, actually, let me see what's going on in the chat, because I feel like there's probably, these questions. Hold on. Always follow up. You said, let me see. Some of y'all are saying up. At BC, you said diversity and inclusion. You're talking about what you're offering. Ashley, you said that's my story for sure. Let's see. Helping students graduate college debt-free, understand why they are attending college. Love that transformation. We've talked about that before. Said helping employers and employees improve their workplace dynamics. Great. Tosin, you mentioned that you didn't follow up. Nikki, you said in the past, but ever since your last training, I always follow up. Fantastic. I'm so happy to hear that you follow up. Gabriel, I see you put some questions in there. Please make sure you put your questions in the Q&A box. All these good questions that you have. Ooh, I see advice for sending out cold emails. How are you able to, oh, don't worry, we about to get there. Okay, cool. I see, I like what's going on here. I like what I'm seeing. You guys got questions. Make sure you put them in the Q&A box so that way I get to them. Good stuff. All right, so here's the myth that cold emails don't work and they are a thing of the past and that you're going to achieve way more success with warm leads. Here's the truth, all right? So yeah, the average cold email response rate, it is 1%. I love giving the stats and the facts. That's always what you're going to get with me. But for marketers and salespeople who do cold emails the right way, I have seen response rates as high as 15% to 20%. Okay, this is just personally what I've seen. Plus, look at all of the results that I've just shown you from the people who have gotten, brand partnerships or sponsorships with brands pitching cold. Here's the thing and what you really need. You need to have a follow-through process. You need to personalize everything you do and make sure that it's a good fit. You need to evaluate before you even send that email. Is this truly a good fit? You always have to evaluate that. And you also need to determine, is it best to send an email? And when I send that email, should I create a video? Do I need to include pictures in that? Because a lot of people send cold emails and they send this very long email that has absolutely nothing to do with it, that absolutely doesn't communicate any value whatsoever. And it's not custom to the brand. So you have to remember when you're sending out these emails, are you communicating value? Are you truly showing this brand that you are bringing value to them? And you're not just focused on you, but you're more so making it about a partnership in us and showing that you've done your research. Now, I want to give you a real life email example. I love getting examples. Mind you, this is something that turned into a partnership, but I want to show you what works. So in this email, this was to Asana. And it says, "Hi, Ashley. My name is Jessica Chielu, reaching out to you on behalf of Maya Elias." Now, you're probably, and blah, blah, blah. You guys can read it. But you're going to see inside of the body of this email, I use a picture. And one of the reasons why I use this picture is because it helps connect the dots. It helps connect the dots of, oh, wait a minute. I see that she's worked with Think in Color before, which is with Thinkific, and Asana and Thinkific have worked together. So automatically in their mind, they're probably feeling like the person who I'm sending this email to this is worth maybe checking out or having a phone call because we've worked with Thinkific before. So maybe if Thinkific has worked with this person before, maybe we need to work with her too. Then I say, hey, I have a few ideas to position Asana successfully in front of her audience. Are you available? I'm asking for a date and time. There's no pitch deck in here. There's no attachments. There's none of that, okay? So excited to hear from you. Personalized. I didn't just say hello. I didn't say all those things. I really honestly didn't even give a ton of stats. I just have a link if they want to find out more information about the event, a link there. But my biggest key thing was to make a connection and show that if a brand that you partner with has worked with this person. You also need to work with this person. Now, I have an arrow pointing to that date, December 11th, 2024 reason. Let me tell you when I got a response, okay? So I didn't get a response until January 20th, which is basically like a month and a half later, okay? A month and a half later after I had shot this email. Now, we already like this date, we're pretty much like 2 weeks away from the event when I got a response. And I'm hoping that we can make things work. And she says, you know, hey, I would love to partner. She didn't answer anything about, you know, us hopping on a call. She just says, can you send me a proposal? And normally I don't send the proposal. I want to hop on a call first before I send over a proposal. But in this case, because we were 2 weeks away from the event, I'm like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and send it over to her. So January 20th, she sends me that. I respond back to her on the same day. And I tell her, hey, you know, after I send her all that information, I still haven't heard back from her after I shoot her over the proposal. 5 days later, I'm like, hey, I'm following up. I know it's 5 days. And I know, like, you know, I'm trying to close one more deal before this event. I'd really love for you to be included. Guess what they say? January 26th, the next day. Man, love you guys. We would really like to do this, but unfortunately, we can't do it right now. And she actually provides a reason why. And the reason why I'm showing you guys this real life example is because I want you to see the amount of time it took for the brand to respond. So sometimes these people, they're not responding because they're busy. Maybe they're not good with managing their inbox. Maybe it could just be that they're wrapping up their fiscal year. And they're in the middle of budget planning, which is really good because it means that I reached out to them at the perfect time. So they couldn't do it because it was too last minute, but she did say, we would be interested in partnering in the future. So understand this, a no is not a no until they actually tell you no. Keep following up. I'm sharing with you this email process because it's important for you to see that brands aren't always going to respond back to you right away. Follow up, because if you follow up, eventually you're going to get the response that you're wanting, whether that's, hey, let's hop on a call, hey, send me your proposal, or no, we can't do it at this time. And if they tell you no, make sure that you ask why. When is a good time to reach out? When does your fiscal year start? When do you guys start budget planning? So that way you can make sure you get in the door. Now, here we are, Thursday, April 8th. And guess what? As you can see, hey, here's our partnership agreement. So from December all the way up until April, that's the process. So how many months is that? December, January, February, March, April, 4 months, 4 months of building a relationship to get us to a contract, okay? So think about that when you are figuring out your sponsorship process. And in this process, follow through is everything. Customization is everything. So secret number 3 is your email outreach. Be very clear in your email outreach. As you noticed in that email that I sent out, it was not long. It didn't give a bunch of stats and a bunch of facts. It was very brief and straight to the point. I provide a lot of email templates, lots of options all the way up until like, I think email attempt number 6. And I'm always testing out things because you have to test out what subject lines work, what works in the body of the email. You are becoming a sponsorship sales expert whenever you are pitching yourself for opportunities. So one of the things I want to show you, here's an email that we shot out. This actually, one of my students, she reached out to Microsoft, used this template right here and got a response within 5 minutes after sending out this email. Notice these are very short, brief emails. They're not super long. I do recommend that you at least have 3 to 5 contacts within a brand whenever you're reaching out to them. Why? Because there are multiple decision makers within a brand. I see too many people that reach out to one person within a brand, send one email, and they're like, oh my God, they're not interested. And I'm like, no, as a sponsorship salesperson, these opportunities, there's over 5.7 million is what we said, as far as businesses that are out there. There are multiple decision makers. Do not give up after one person doesn't give you the response, okay? Reach out. Now, also, whenever you're sending out those emails, as you saw from that real life example that I just gave you, we did not include a pitch deck. We did not. In fact, when we actually closed the deal, we had a 2-page pitch deck, okay? But we had a phone call, and that very first phone call that we had with them, once we actually got a call on the calendar, I asked questions. One of the questions that I asked was, how do you guys normally engage in sponsorship? And I also said, tell me, what are you guys, what is Asana's goals? A part of their goals was, we really want to support Black creators. That was great for us. I also asked them, like, hey, you've already communicated when your fiscal year begins. Tell me, like, what's the timeline for this? They went through the entire timeline process. You can ask a lot of really good questions, and those strategic questions, they're going to help you create a custom proposal. And we were able to do exactly that for Asana and all of the other brands that I worked with. They basically told me what they wanted, and I just put everything that they wanted inside of that proposal. They did the work for me because of the strategic questions that I asked. And that's the exact same thing that you guys should be doing and incorporate in your sponsorship strategy. Now, also, I want you to think about this. 80% of sales requires 5 follow-ups after the initial contact, but only 44% of salespeople, they give up after 1. So I want you to be a part of the 8% that do follow up at least 5 times. You want to be a part of that 8%. Now, I love, there's always there's the 1%. It's good to be a part of the least percentage, because most people aren't going to follow up. The people that do continue, the 8%, are the ones that are hitting those 5, 6, and even 7-figure partnerships because they do this. Now, one of the questions that just came up, I know a lot of you, I'm pretty sure those questions are coming and I see them. How do you even get the contacts? Because a lot of you aren't pitching because you don't have the contacts. So, of course, if you're wondering, how do I find contacts to brands? LinkedIn is one of the most slept on platforms out there. I see so many people that are focused on sending DMs. They're trying to get these emails, or they don't even know where to begin, or they're Googling and all those things. That's cool. But I think there's a very easy, free way of figuring out who a brand, where a brand is, where they're located, and who the specific person is, and really start to develop a rapport with them. So here's LinkedIn. All right. So on LinkedIn, right here, if you type in the search bar, so this is exactly what I did to partner with Pottery Barn Kids. Inside of that search bar, using your free LinkedIn account, there's also great tools like LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And I teach people how to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator inside of my course. But with the free version of LinkedIn, I just type in Pottery Barn Kids. After I type that in, it takes me to the company profile, and I go to the people section. Once I click on the people tab, there's a search bar. It tells me the number of employees that they have, where the company is located. Inside of that, search employees by title, keyword, or school. I want to type in influencer, because for this particular opportunity, when I searched, when I was pitching to them, or when I did pitch to them, it was more so for an influencer opportunity. So when I searched influencer, 2 employees came up. The first person that came up was Rachel Sunday, who is the person that I work with at Pottery Barn Kids, and that she is the senior social media manager. So she has been my primary contact. There was another person that I worked with, but unfortunately she's no longer with the brand. And then you've got Michaela. And obviously we can see here that Michaela, she's a buyer. So she's probably not going to be the best person that I connect with. So right there, Rachel Sunday, that is a way for you to connect with her on LinkedIn, or at least follow her on LinkedIn, or even just research her on LinkedIn. And then of course, there are other ways in which you can get email addresses, but now right here alone, even if you wanted to keep the communication just on LinkedIn, you've got the person that you need. Easy, simple way. Beef up that LinkedIn page. Make sure you're looking good on your LinkedIn. Make sure you're active on LinkedIn and connect with these people. It's a great platform to actually engage and connect with decision makers. I always say that LinkedIn is for the people who cut the checks. That is for the people who cut the checks. Instagram, Facebook, all of those other platforms, those are for people who just like collecting checks. And collecting checks is good, but you want to be in cahoots with the people who are writing the checks and the decision makers who cut them. So let's get to misconception number 4. You need gold, silver, bronze sponsorship packages. Let me just tell you right now, Ooh, if you are doing that, stop doing it now. Gold, silver, bronze sponsorship packages is such an old school approach and it just doesn't work anymore. So I want you to tell me right now in the chat group, if this is you, have you ever created a sponsorship package and sent the proposal in your initial email to a brand? So let's say you reached out to a brand, you had your media kit in there, you had your sponsorship kit in there, and it also included packages. Let me know if that's you. I'm pretty sure that may be some of you. Let me see. I got to go in the chat for this. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Hold up. Nikki, you said you did. Gabriel, you said, I always say gold, silver, and bronzer for the eyeshadows. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, you said please share the replay. Yes, I will be sharing the replay. But I don't know when that replay is gonna come out. It might take a long time because this is a long session, and I'm trying to speed it up as quick as possible. But oh my God, let's say, okay, yeah. Oh, Gabriel, you said you work in beauty. Let me tell you, I see people do this all the time, and it's really, really annoying. So let me just tell you the truth. You increase the value of your sponsorship proposal by offering opportunities that really help a company meet a desired goal. And it's really impossible to do that with a gold, silver, bronze sponsorship proposal. It just doesn't work. It used to work back in the day. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work like that anymore, okay? You need to take a custom approach with each sponsorship proposal, and it's actually really easy to do. So real life examples. Here is I'm gonna just tell y'all now, these days, I no longer create like 12-page sponsorship decks, especially when you start building relationship with brands. And if you are able to articulate what you want to do and you ask the right questions with the brand or right questions to these brands, they'll tell you exactly what they're looking for, exactly what they're needing. So this is literally the proposal that I sent over to a brand. 2 pages, that's it, just 2 pages. And the brand was like, this is great. This is perfect. Like, we talked about everything that we needed. Here are the bullet points of what we needed. So you can literally just take a screenshot of this and see. Now, the only thing that I left out was just the investment level, but there's no packages. I literally had one investment level and said, look, this is what it is. And if you guys can't work with that, let's negotiate. Let's figure it out. Works every single time. It has worked so much better than me actually creating a 12-page proposal with multiple packages in it. And this is custom to this brand. Everything that I am giving them is custom to what exactly they said they wanted and desired. So if you look at this 2-page proposal, which is what I'm sending out to most of the brands, like when I tell you with Asana, the one that I did for Maya, that was a 2-page proposal, okay? It seems like what's happening now is like the more I increase the dollar amount of the proposals, the smaller the sponsorship packages get. And it's really just because, and it also depends what's included. What really matters to a lot of the brands is the contractual phase. So what's included in the contract. The sponsorship proposal is really just a small piece. So I've got demographics. I tell you exactly what Work University is. I give you her social reach. And then what is the opportunity? You don't need 30 gazillion pages to talk about the opportunity. You need to focus on the value that you provide. And that value is not listing out a whole bunch of benefits. And a lot of times in those gold, silver, bronze packages, people are listing out the same things over and over again, but it's just like, okay, but in this package, you're going to get this over here. And I'm like, but it's so redundant. Like, you're just wasting space at this point and at this point in time. And you're also wasting the person who's viewing the proposal, their time too, because these people are busy. That's the reason why they ain't responding to all your emails. So here's this example. Like I said, screenshot it. I wanted to make sure you guys saw that so you can see other ways in which you can communicate the value and how you can take a custom approach. All right. So secret number 4, like I mentioned before, create a custom proposal. Most of these deals that I am showing you or giving you examples of, a lot of these deals in the first phone call, we were able to get a yes. We were able to get in writing after that very first meeting that, yes, we want to work with you. After that, it was just a matter. I mean, look at with Asana and that email example that I showed you guys. They were like, we want to partner with you. We ain't even really, we saw your sponsorship proposal. We just can't do it right now. So you get the yes in that first meeting. The next point is really just, okay, let's figure out a number that's going to work. And sometimes it's just a matter of asking, like, hey, what is your budget? I remember being on a call with a brand and I said, hey, so how does $30,000 sound? Does that work? And they were like, yeah, actually, that does work. And in my mind, I was like, well, if $30,000 worked, because I sent that in the last proposal and y'all couldn't partner at that time, that means that I'm gonna send a proposal with two investment levels. One is gonna be for 100,000 and the other one is gonna be for 60,000. Because I never wanna go in there with 50, I see people take this approach, 1,500, 5,000, 10,000. And you haven't even taken the time to ask a brand what their budget is. So you're shortchanging yourself when you don't fully understand a brand. You don't fully understand, and you also don't take the time to ask. It is completely okay to ask a brand, like, what's your budget for something like this? So create that custom proposal based off of the great questions and responses that you receive from that brand in that discovery call, which we talked about in secret number 3. Okay. Ask those strategic questions and close that deal in phase 4, right? Know this, it is very much possible to close the deal in the first email or meeting when you go custom. When you go custom and when you take that custom approach, notice a lot of the things that I'm talking about this evening is about taking a custom approach. Get next steps after that first meeting. I cannot tell you the number of times that I've seen people just leave. There's no call to action. After, you have that call, on the call, that first meeting, that discovery meeting, simply say, hey, this was great. When can we follow up? Is it in 7 days? Is it in 2 weeks? Who else do you need to speak with? Let's get another date on the calendar for us to discuss feedback. Do we need to take a more custom approach? Do we need to negotiate? Sometimes that can happen over email. Sometimes that needs to happen in another meeting or on another call. Always follow up at least 5 times to win the deal. Sometimes let me tell you, I've had a brand where I was thinking to myself, okay, this lady told me yes, that she wanted to work with us verbally on a phone call and also in an email. Now, I ain't heard from this lady in almost a month. What is going on? Responded to her. I shot her 3 emails, and I use a mail tracker to see if people are responding, if they've opened and if they're clicking on things. So I checked the email and I was like, she still hasn't opened it. So I just saw in her email signature that, oh, wait a minute, she has her cell phone number listed. You know what I did? I called her. It went to voicemail. I left her a voicemail. Then I shot her a text and told her who I was and said, hey, I just want to know if you're still interested in this opportunity, because we actually have another brand who's interested in this opportunity and they're one of your competitors. She responded back immediately. We were on a phone call 10 minutes later, and she said, I just want to let you know you're really good at your job. She said, because we are interested, it's just been a really busy time for me. And this is why it's important for you to follow up. Too many people are leaving money on the table and missing out on opportunities because they're not following up. So let's get to the last misconception, that once you get sponsored by a brand, they're going to continue to work with you. I think people think this all the time. So have you ever received an in-kind sponsorship or a paid sponsorship from a brand and you assumed that they would work with you again just because they sponsored you the first year? So they gave you products and you were like, oh, because they gave me these products, they're going to give me money next year. Okay, I see a lot of people who do that, but here's that myth. The myth is a partnership with a brand guarantees you they'll always work with you. Here's the truth. In order for that to happen, you need to continuously show value. Continuously showing value is what's going to keep companies working with you as long as their goals and budgets have not shifted. So you need to report how you fulfilled your end of the sponsorship agreement. I am really big on fulfillment reports. Now, these are real life example recap reports. I think a lot of you, if you go on my Instagram page, you see I love Stella Rosa. I love drinking wines with them, drinking their wines. But one of the reasons why the campaign was so successful and why I was able to get a renewal contract is because I documented everything. I tracked everything. And I was able to clearly show them that, look, if you work with me again, here are the results that you're going to get. Here is the impact that is being made, or that was made and that we're going to continue to make. So one of the things that we did here is one where this was a recap report that we shot out to Cream of Nature. And every brand, I create a recap report, and I recommend you do this for every brand. Again, if you're creating custom proposals, the deliverables are going to be different for each brand that you work with. So you always want to communicate and share with them, here's the results, and then here's the impact that was made. Together, we were able to achieve this. Your sponsorship dollars helped us do this, okay? So, and then you can even talk about what your goals are, what your hopes are for the following year. So this is what we plan to do next year. And how are we going to do that next year? With your help. Because we're looking to reach more people or make this much more impact, we're going to need more dollars. And that's how you get that renewal contract. Communicate the results, track everything that you do, how you were able to fulfill your end of the deal, and show them the impact that was made. I have a client that she creates a recap of everything that she does. And I had one brand, because she had that clearly communicated on her website, everything that she done. It always baffles me when people, they host events and they never post the reports or like the case studies of what they've done in the past on their website. And I'm like, so if you communicate to a brand, you mean to tell me anytime that brand wants to know about all of the events that you've done in the past, there's nothing like that that lives on your website? We had a brand that said yes, simply because she had this one recap on her website that was so clear. And the lady said, this is so helpful. This is super helpful. And all I need to do is show my team this. And I guarantee you that they're going to come back and say yes. And sure enough, that's what happened. That's what's happened. You always need to be able to clearly communicate it, not just even in your fulfillment report, but everywhere on your real estate. This is your brand. This is how you make impact. This is your vision. This is your baby. This is your value. And this is how you increase value and get more people, more brands to have eyes on you. So place this kind of information just not only in a fulfillment report, but also take time to place this on your website. Everything that you've done. So if you hosted a workshop, how many workshops have you hosted? The workshops that you've hosted, what's the audience that you serve? What brands are represented in the audience that you serve? What companies do they work for? Take it next level. Do that. Share that. Like, this is, and this was just one slide where we said 1.3 million. This is how much was generated with our top 6 women who were in our program. This was just with 6 women, but best believe when you went to the website, it went further and even deeper on the total amounts of how she was able to help people and the results she was able to help these women achieve. So all I'm saying is, secret number 5, activate that campaign, submit a fulfillment report so that way you can get a renewal contract. And in that renewal contract, you always want to make sure, like, have a feedback meeting. Schedule a meeting 7 to 14 days after your event or after the deliverables have been delivered, and get on a call. Say, hey, I'd love to get your feedback. Plus, use that as an opportunity to talk about how you guys can partner again. Ensure you've already got a proposal ready for the next project, if it's next year, if it's next quarter, so that way you guys can discuss that on the call. And of course, thank them. Send them a gift card, send them a thank you note, get their address, do those things, because these people invested in you. They invested dollars in your vision. They came alongside you to help you in partnership and help you to fund your dreams. Do the things that you love. Don't just treat them like, oh, they gave me a check, I'm good, I secured the bag. It's more than just securing the bag. This is all about relationship building, okay? So we've got the 5 sponsorship secrets. Secret number 1, solve problems and make transformational impact to secure sponsors instead of focusing on followers. This is not about how many followers you have. It's all about solving problems and making transformational impact. Secret number 2, develop a healthy prospect list of small, mid-size, and large brands to pitch. No matter the size of the brand or the company, go for the pitch. Secret number 3, evaluate if it's a good fit before you submit a cold email, and then make sure you personalize the email. Personalizing that email could be I'm sending a video. I'm going to make sure that include a picture in there. I'm connecting the dots for it to make sense for them to hop on a call with me. Secret number 4, go custom all the way. Create and submit a custom sponsorship proposal. And secret number 5, send a fulfillment report to show the proof of your results, the impact being made, and also obtain a renewal contract. Okay. All right. So we're moving along. Now, think about this. I want you to think about things. Okay. I'm going somewhere with this. What if you created a prospect list and you created that prospect list and it helped you to set up a master plan to solve your problem, make impact? You could partner with brands that align with your vision, build real, genuine relationships with decision makers organically, send them a custom proposal, and have those companies write you checks to do what you love. That's what should be going on in your mind right now, okay? The what ifs. Just if it simply started with your vision, your master plan, and your prospect list of brands that align, and you start connecting with people organically on LinkedIn or other platforms. Now, what if you created that prospect list and you said a part of my plan is going to have a goal? Somebody mentioned $1,000 in the chat group. Let's just start with $1,000. I don't want you to think higher. If you really want to think higher, you have a goal to reach higher. Okay, go ahead. But I just want you to think about $1,000 in 90 days or less. So that means you would secure 1 sponsor per month, 12 sponsors at $1,000 each, and that would be an additional $12,000 per year in sponsorship revenue for you to host the events of your dreams. Now, some of y'all hosting programs and don't even fully understand how much you need. You ain't got no budget. You just saying, I need $1,000 when really you probably need about $20,000 or $30,000 if you really took time to break down what you actually need. And then some of y'all are out here taking too little if you have gotten sponsorships before. And it's because you just really don't understand how to increase the value or understand the value that you're really bringing to the table. But just think about this. $12,000 per year in sponsorship revenue. Very doable based on everything that I've shared with you this evening. These people who don't have a lot of followers, like Dr. Sajay, also Melissa, who only had 1,700 followers, it was possible for them. And I'm sure there's some of you who are thinking, well, dang, I got 1,000 followers. Because it's not about following, it's about impact and the transformation that you bring and the problems that you solve. What if I told you that I could actually help you do this the same way I've helped all the other people that I just shared with you? I love helping people just like you. Here I am helping an artist. Jonathan, he always tells me, he's like, I cannot believe the amount of money that Jessica has been able to help me secure in such a short period of time. She, us going after brands that he didn't even think was possible, but we did it. Not thinking about, I don't think I'm enough, but saying, yes, you were worth it and you can bring loads of value to these brands. We did it. We did it. And he did it with my help. Also, helping business coaches and also nonprofits. This is someone texting me saying, girl, I just want to have access to your database. I really want to do more 5-figure contracts because I'm so sick and tired of working with these small time brands. They're not giving me the money. And also, again, like I said, helping nonprofits. I really enjoy helping people like you. Here's some other ladies that I've worked with. And one of the things that they shared is, Jessica has given me the opportunity to really learn how I can get sponsors for her Creative Cravings podcast that she does with her sister. They didn't think that it was possible to get sponsors. And now they're using the strategies that I've shared with them and taught them on how to get sponsors, not only for their podcast, but also for influencer partnerships. Here's someone else. She's actually going out and getting venture capital, but she really knows that partnerships are going to be a huge part of how she establishes her brand. And so she's like, man, Jessica truly is the queen of sponsorships. But I love helping people. I'm really a helper and a teacher, and I'm a strong believer in helping you get to the place that I'm at now, which is everything 100% funded. And also at a place where there's this strategy where you're becoming a sponsorship sales expert and it can eventually leave your full-time gig because you're making so much money in partnerships. It's possible. Trust me, Lots of people are out here doing it, and you can do the exact same. Like Melissa, we talked about her already, 1,700 followers, 7,500 in 3 weeks. This could most certainly be you. So here's how we can work together. I have a 6 step sponsored and secured method where it teaches you exactly how to start landing corporate sponsors. Right now, I gave you those 5 secrets. We talked about that 5 phase sales process, but we go further in depth into this program, or further in depth into the strategies and the processes and the tools and resources that you can use to make that happen. And so I want to be able to work with you and help you get there and achieve that success. So here's what Sponsored and Secured is all about. It's helping the beginner sponsorship seeker to really develop a valuable sponsorship sales process and learn the basics of getting started. So if you are a beginner, you've never done this before, a lot of the course, in the beginning of that course, it takes you through the foundational pieces of getting sponsorships. Okay. If you are someone who's more so like, I've done this before, I've been trying to get sponsored, I've landed sponsorships in the past, whether that was paid or in kind, but you really need a more strategic process, and you also want to increase the dollar amount of your sponsorships closer to the 5 and 6 figure mark. And some of you might already be at 6 figures. And if you are, you're more on the advanced level. But you were just like, hey, I really just need a more solid strategy. And if you need that more solid strategy, then definitely Sponsored and Secured is for you. If you are an expert, like you're an expert sponsorship seeker, and you're really just looking to create a complete partnership plan, get repeat contracts, and eventually an exit strategy where it's like, I want to get sponsorships so that way I no longer have to use money out of my own pocket, which is really all of you. But I also want to get partnerships that can match my full time salary and more. Then this is definitely an opportunity for you, because I go in and I teach you how to create a repeat process, because you want a repeat process when you are doing this. Okay. And I'm going to show you all of this inside of Sponsored and Secured without losing your mind, time, or money. A lot of people who invest inside of this program, they're usually able to see results if they put in the work within 90 days or less. So, Sponsored and Secured is basically my 8 week program that's designed to show you how to effortlessly find sponsors for your next virtual or in person experience in 90 days or less. But it's also a program that's helping you get the partnerships if you're a speaker, or if you're hosting workshops, or if you're an influencer. Remember, in the beginning of the training, I said that my foundation, before I even started doing influencer work, the solid foundation started for me as someone that was pitching her nonprofit faith based conference. And that's really a challenge. When you're a nonprofit and faith based, that's a challenge. But then imagine being able to transition that to no longer really promoting a faith based event and not really trying to get partnerships. Actually, a lot of the people that I've shown you in this, a lot of the people that I've shown you inside of the training tonight, all of them, they're all for profit founders. So none of their organizations are nonprofits. And I love showing you for profit entities, because many people think that in order to secure a lot of money in sponsorships, you need to be a nonprofit. And that just is another misconception that is so not true. There's lots of money out there for profit founders. Nothing is held back from you inside of this program, because, again, I'm a helper and a teacher first. All you have to do is follow the step by step process that I give to you inside of this program. You use the tools and resources that I provide to you. So, what you're getting inside of Sponsored and Secured is part one, the course. So, you've got step by step videos to help you build your proposals, pitch emails, and secure sponsors, again, in 90 days or less. You also have the community, 24/7 support in our private Facebook group, and all these people across the globe that are looking to achieve the same things that you're looking to achieve. And then there's also the group coaching. So when you're inside of the course, everything is pre-recorded, but there's also live coaching calls there. But if you once you sign up, you get immediate access to all of the content and the curriculum that's inside of the course that's designed for you. Now, again, I'm going to answer your questions at the end. I see your questions, I see your hands. I'm going to get in there because I want to make sure I answer those questions. And I appreciate you guys sticking with me this far because I am going to get to your questions, but also you get the modules. Now, inside of the course, now I promise you, I'm not going to charge you $10,000 or it doesn't cost $10,000 to be a part of the program. But when you look at the value, I've had other experts come in and look inside of the course and they look at the material and they all go, Jessica, you should be charging so much more for this. But inside of the course, you're going to get intro to corporate sponsorships, also an introduction on how to use audience data because so many people are leaving audience data out of their proposals. Also, the benefits and the budget. How do you actually get to what your value should be in your proposal? Because, like I said, some of y'all out here charging $1,000 for something that's worth $40,000. And I'm like, where did you get this from? Where are you getting these numbers from? So, really helping you to understand those advantages and your value assets so that way you can truly get the money that you deserve. Also, how to build your proposal. So, yes, we talked about the 2-page pitch. I shared that with you, but do you also still need to have some of those longer proposals for those brands that do want it that may not be going for the 2-page pitch, or maybe you need a lot more room to communicate the value of your pitch? I show you both the 2-page pitch and how to create the intro pitch. Also, a very thorough process. And I'm even bringing in a LinkedIn expert that shows you everything that you can do with LinkedIn. So, how do you discover and connect with those strategic partners? And then also activate, fulfill, and renew. You get templates. You also get what you should talk about in the meeting, what questions to ask in the meeting, and then the entire process of what you should be doing. Okay, so you get a lot of things inside of the course. There's also the community, 24/7 support. I'm always in there. Love our community. But what's even better about the community is that people are sharing their wins. They're also sharing their struggles because, yes, you're becoming a sponsorship salesperson. So every brand is not going to tell you yes. You're going to hear some no's, but you're going to get support along the way. So here's somebody talking in our Facebook group, Amy. She said, I'm there. I did $1,000 in 90 days. I actually obtained $5,000 and an in-kind donation to host a strategy session from the Alliance for Media Arts Plus Culture organization today, 2/16/21. She did it in 3 weeks. 3 weeks into the course, she was someone that wanted to fast track because she was like, we need to get this money. So she was on a roll. She was going through the content so quick, participating in the coaching calls, doing everything, but she did it. And she just simply followed the instructions, the homework assignments, and everything that had been mapped out and laid out for her inside of the course. So there's lots of support and community, not just for me, but the other people who are pitching to brands. Also, the coaching. I provide coaching to you. I do this every Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I am on these calls. I told y'all we was going to be on here for 60 minutes, but clearly I've been on here much longer in this training. But it's important to me that you are successful on this journey. Okay. So here's some of the things that happen during those coaching calls. I bring the brands to you. If you tell me, Jessica, I really would love to get some feedback on a proposal or hear like what it's like to work with the brand. I've brought in brands like Ernst & Young, Google, Toyota, McAfee. If you say there's a brand that you would love to see inside of the course, I'm bringing them in. I'm pitching to them to just come and simply share information with you. And then I'm connecting you directly to the brand. Then there's the bonuses, all of the sponsorship templates, everything, email templates, editable sponsorship templates, survey templates, everything that you need to be a success, which is valued at $5,000. But of course, I'm not going to charge you that. Then if you pay in full, when you pay for sponsored and secured in full, I give you 15 brand contacts of your choice and a live one-on-one coaching session with me. I stopped doing one-on-one sessions unless you do a VIP sponsorship strategy session with me, which is basically me going like a 4-hour intensive. And I no longer offer like 60-minute sessions unless you're someone inside of the course, because it's very time consuming and we can't achieve a lot within 60 minutes. So I stopped doing them, but I'm only going to offer that to people who pay in full and sign up for the course. So I want to give you a comparison. People, there ain't no degree in this. You can't go to a university and learn this, but people pay $80,000 to go to school, get a degree, and still aren't making the money that they want to make. There are people who go to trade schools, they pay $30,000 for that, and maybe they make the money that they want to make, okay? But the point that I'm trying to make is this course is valued at $15,000 plus, and I'm only giving it for $19.97, which is extremely affordable. I've been able to create a full-time salary out of this. Other people are able to create side hustles out of this and getting sponsorships and pursuing their passions and their dreams, not having to spend money out of pocket. So it's not a lot to spend when you think about the return. And as I've shown you, somebody just said $5,000 in 3 weeks. She easily made her money back in 3 weeks. The other person who did $5.4 thousand with Bench easily got that back. Melissa, $7,500 in 3 weeks from Cricket Wireless, easily got that back. So people, when you do the work, you easily make the money back in the partnerships that you're pitching to. So what do you do now? Where are you at right now? You get the course, $19.97. You get the course, the community, and the coaching, $19.97. You get the templates, even with what it's valued at, as all of those things are thrown in, still $19.97. Plus, you pay in full, you get those 15 brand contacts of your choice, plus that live one-on-one session with me, it's still $19.97. So if you invest today and you pay in full, you get the one-on-one session with me, the 15 brand contacts of your choice, which is a $3,500 value. But that live session, some of you might be asking, well, what does that live session with you include? How long is it? It's a 60-minute session doing an overview of the course, any material that you want to go over, you have questions about. It's a custom where to start strategy session. So it's custom and tailored to you. We discuss strategies that are most important to you, and we talk about the best fit sponsors for you. So it is a one-on-one session that's all about you. It is not a group session. This is just me and you, okay? Basically, I'm just giving that away at that $19.97 price if you pay in full and you invest today. So your price, when you think about everything, the total value of the course, it's right at about $20,000. So specifically $19,385, but you're getting that at $19.97. Okay. So what you're getting today, if you pay in full, is the sponsored and secured course, those editable templates, the done for you templates, the editable intro deck templates, the 15 brand contacts of your choice, the live one-on-one session with me on a date that you select and a time that is more convenient for you. And there you go. All you need to do, I know some of you are probably wondering, like, what's the link? All you have to do is go to the sponsorshiplady.com/training. Okay. So if you pay in full again, this is what you're getting, everything there. And you get immediate access to the course. So the sponsorshiplady.com/course. I'll put that in the chat box. But once you sign up, you get immediate access to the course. All of the videos and modules, they're already up there inside of the class. You can start doing the homework. Once a quarter, I hold a series of live group coaching calls. The next one actually starts next week. So you're going to be coming in at the right time. This is the perfect time for you to join. But we have a lot of fun. And again, I want to teach you and I want to help you. So go ahead and join now. I am going to start answering questions. This has been so much fun, and I appreciate you guys rocking with me and staying on until the very end. But let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and I will put this inside of, let me put this inside of the chat group. Give me just one moment, and I see your questions. oops, and I'm sorry, it's the sponsorshiplady.com/course. So the sponsorshiplady.com/course. Let me start answering these questions. All right. So someone said, yes, you work in beauty. Okay, okay, okay. Um, so let's see. Do you have beauty brand contacts? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So happy that you guys are enjoying the info. Let me get to the questions. Someone said, do you have to be a structured nonprofit org in order to get brand partnerships? Nope, you do not. So as I mentioned before, a lot of the brands that I mentioned here um, this evening, none of them are nonprofits. All of them are for-profit entities. They are not 501c3s. So that's a big misconception that you have to be a nonprofit in order to get funding. Tosin, you said, who do you contact for these corporate sponsorships? HR. HR could be someone that you reach out to for sponsorships. I think the main thing is understanding what you're offering. So if, let's say, you are coming in and you're providing a training or a resource or some type of workshop for employees, HR might be a good department to reach out to. If you're someone that's an influencer, you might be reaching out to the influencer marketing department. If you are reaching out to and doing a social impact or community impact, you might be reaching out to the diversity and inclusion department. And sometimes D&I that might fall under HR, but it really just depends on what impact you were making, the solution that you were providing, and that's going to help you determine which department you should be reaching out to. So thank you for that question, Tosin. All right. So, Sarita, you said, how do you gain the email of a larger brand when it's not listed on their website? A lot of times you're not going to find that these brands are email addresses are listed on their website. And so what you want to do is you actually want to take time to use websites like hunter.io, which is a platform where if you just put the person's name and the company domain or the company website, it might be able to provide you with with an email address. So that's one way in which you could do it. So it's called hunter.io, or there's also Rocket Reach. I don't really like Rocket Reach too much because with Rocket Reach, the email addresses are not always accurate, but I have seen some success with using hunter.io. Another thing that you could do is Google press releases. That's something else that you could do to get contact information. But again, I've seen hunter.io be more accurate for me. Advice on cold emails, like I said, personalize it, make sure that it's a good fit. You want to ensure that it's a good fit for the brand. There's truly that alignment. Customize it, figure out if this is a good opportunity for them. Does it even fit with what they're doing right now? Should you include a video? Be very brief in your emails. Don't try to pitch right away. Also, don't send a whole bunch of information in one email. Get a call scheduled. Be very strategic in that pitch email. Who are the decision makers for corporate companies? Who should you email? So like I shared in that as we were going through LinkedIn, and this is kind of like, it just all depends on the department, but some titles that you could look for is partnerships manager. Partnerships is something that you can search. Director of marketing, diversity and inclusion specialist, or director of diversity and inclusion. It might be a director of HR. I usually always start whenever I'm searching on LinkedIn. It's either going to be influencer if it's an influencer opportunity, or I might put in partnerships if it's a partnership opportunity. And a lot of times you will see the partnership specialist come up, depending on, again, the department in which you're trying to reach out to and what impact you are making or the problem that you are solving. Gabrielle, you said, is it best to reach out for in-kind first to build the relationship and then ask for dollars? I don't think you always have to ask for in-kind first. I think even if you ask for the money, like the examples that I shared in the training, a lot of times we actually just ask for the dollars first, but we ask for those dollars first after getting on a phone call and just ensuring that it was a good fit. So I think you never want to just straight up ask for dollars in an email. You want to discuss more of like, hey, we have opportunities, want to see if it's a good fit first hop on that discovery call. And if on the call they say that, hey, um, we really don't engage in sponsorship, like we only do affiliate marketing. And I've had that happen. But through being able to communicate, like, hey, that doesn't really work for us. We are asking for an actual paid partnership beyond just affiliate marketing. And we were able to convert that over into a paid sponsorship or partnership just based on how well the proposal was put together and how well our ask was and what was included, the value that they were getting. And it's like, that's just something you're not going to get through affiliate marketing. So I think if it's a brand that does not have budget, you have to ask yourself, am I willing to just accept in kind and hopefully transform this into a paid partnership with still getting their products in the future? All right. Then someone said, how do you actually make the first point of contact when reaching out? Are we reaching the marketing or sponsorship? Like, how do we actually get the right contact, the yes person, the person in charge of making the decisions? Just like I walked you through in the training, a lot of those people that I reached out to, I not only took time to just see like who they were, I actually read their job descriptions. I went in and saw like everything. I studied their LinkedIn pages, went and did additional research on the website, Googled some information, tried to find press releases, anything I could find on on the individual to ensure that this was my go-to person. I also went in to look to see if there were other people with the same job description or similar job descriptions within that company to see if maybe do I need to reach out to this person or would this be a better contact? So I think the best thing that you can do is research multiple contacts within a brand that have similar roles and see who has the highest position, or even sometimes you can get through with some of the lower positions and they're going to advocate for you if you have a good relationship with them, or build a good relationship with them. Someone says, what role titles do we look for in LinkedIn when it comes to decision makers? So we pretty much already answered that question. Again, it really just depends. I start with partnerships. And when you hit search partnerships, when you go on a company's profile page, what that's going to do, that's actually going to show you the different titles. And you can search there because I've noticed with all companies, a lot of the titles are different. So it might be partnerships manager. I've seen partnership specialist. I've seen diversity and inclusion. I've seen a lot of different titles. And I think it's more so focus on partnerships where they have that inside of not just their title, but they focus on, because it may not even be partnerships. I've seen somewhere it's a sponsorship manager. I've seen some of those. I've seen where there's also oh God, there's another one. I can't even think of it, but there's a variety of different titles, but I would just recommend putting in partnerships. And once you put that in, it's going to show you the people that you should get in contact with. Also, I do recommend you can search partnerships, you can search sponsorship, PR, public relations. That's also another department that may handle, which still falls under marketing, but or communications, that's something else, or another title that does handle partnerships and sponsorships at times. Really good questions. Really, really good questions. And you said, Nikki said, thank you so much for the gems. Question, please, do you have any advice in regards to how to start the convo on LinkedIn with the decision makers and get them to share their email addresses? Again, I think it's organically connecting with them. I don't think that if you've never engaged with them in the past, maybe like you've never liked or commented on anything on their LinkedIn page, or maybe read an article, or even just gave them like, oh my God, how are you? Or I think don't go for that. Let me get your email address right away. I think connecting with them first, engaging with them as well. If there's something interesting in their activity that they've done, somehow mentioning that. So you've got 3 points, 3 times that you've engaged with them, at least 3 to 5 times that you've organically engaged with them. And then after you've done that, I think it's okay to reach out after a second or third time of communicating with them without making an ask, to now say, hey, I'd love to get your feedback on something. I noticed that this is your role. I'd love to know what it would be like or what's the process of working with company XYZ. Would it be okay if we hopped on a quick call or I emailed something over to you? I'd love to get your feedback. And I think simply asking for feedback first and how to engage with the brand and sponsorship is the best approach to take to get an email address versus immediately just asking for, hey, let's hop on a call. Think feedback first. Could I send you something to take a look at and get your feedback on it? So it's not saying I want to partner with you. I've got a partnership opportunity, which you do have a partnership opportunity. It's let me just send it to you first. I want your feedback. I want to get an idea if this is even a good idea. I think that's the best approach to take. So I hope that was helpful. All right. So I'm really excited. Sarita, yes, thank you. Does anyone have any questions about the course? And thank you so much, Adebisi, for putting that inside of the chat group. Yes, the sponsorshiplady.com/course. I'm really excited to see all of you in there. I hope that all of you will join me. But does anyone have any final questions before we hop off? Take advantage of the opportunity. I feel like we've been on here. Oh Lord, it looks like we have been on here for about an hour and 45 minutes. I did not think we were going to go this long, but we did. Um, you're so welcome, Ashley. I'm so happy that this was helpful for you. So very happy that this was helpful for you. Please let me know if you have any additional questions. Always happy to serve and help. I love doing this. I'm a teacher first and a helper always, 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 always. Yes, Adebisi, can't wait to see you there. All right, if there are no more questions, I will see all of you later. Thank you so much for joining in, and I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night. Take care, everyone. See you later.